Hey yo, what up? It's your boy. We are truly living in a society, ladies and gentlemen. How naive we were to have thought of the cyber police being nothing but a figment of our imaginations, a joke, a mere dud to poke fun of the boomers that have come onto the internet to try and tell us Zoomers and millennials what we think is right and wrong. But alas, it seems the cyber police did actually exist, and they exist in Japan. So this story just came out a couple of days ago in Japan, but there is, or I guess was, a Japanese YouTube channel by the name of Fasto Eiga, or Fast Movies as it's called in English. And basically, as the name suggests, they are a YouTube channel that takes movies and basically narrates over them to kind of do like a little Cliff Notes version of an explanation, a review of sorts of the movie, and tell the audience what the movie is about, what are the good points about it, what are the bad points about it, why you should go and check out said movie, you know, like a movie recommendation of sorts. And these guys were also a relatively new channel as well, starting around last year, June, July period, and they uploaded roughly 70 videos. So there are 3 guys involved in this channel. One of them does the narration of the video, giving, you know, the explanations and all that, and then the other 2 work behind the scenes to edit the video, make the video. And it seems that not long into their YouTube career, they were called out, aka arrested, for using movie footage without the production team's permission. In other words, they broke copyright laws and the Popo had to physically get involved. All because throughout their videos, throughout their movie reviews, they were using still shots and screenshots, as well as some short snippets of the movies they were talking about. And they would cut it all up into a nice, short, digestible form of a movie review or movie recommendation video. In other words, a bunch of Japanese dudes were arrested for making movie reviews on YouTube. We truly live in a society. Now, there might be a couple of you who are a little bit confused about all of this, saying, Joey, what about fair use? And if you did say that to your screen right now, then I applaud you on paying attention, because yes, YouTube has this thing called the fair use policy. Basically, if you are using copyrighted material but transform that media or copyrighted material in some sort of transformative, edited way, in most cases, not all cases, in most cases, that goes under the fair use law, which means that you are allowed to use it without necessarily getting permission or credit from the original copyright holder. Now, obviously, if you've been on YouTube for long enough, you will know that that is a very gray topic, and a lot of different channels and a lot of different creators on this platform have really pushed the boundaries of what is actually considered fair use. I think the definition of what fair use is to creators is very different majority of the time to what fair use is to actual copyright holders, and that is understandable at the end of the day. I mean, if you are a copyright holder, you don't want somebody else profiting from something that you made, obviously. And I think the biggest moment where that boundary was stretched was when initially the whole idea of reaction videos were really popping off, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. Because reaction videos have been around on YouTube for a very, very long time, but the old school reaction videos, if you go back, say, to like the 2 Girls 1 Cup era, they don't actually show what they are reacting to on screen. All they show is the face of the person reacting to it, and it is up to you to go to the link to see what they are actually reacting to, or you are most likely just reliant on that person's reactions. But then a couple of years ago, this second wave of reaction videos came out where they would actually put the original video or whatever they were reacting to on the screen as well. And that made a lot of people, and especially copyright holders, kind of raise their eyebrow to go like, oh, okay, that kind of defeats the purpose then of the original video, because why would I even go and check out the original video if I can just watch this reaction video that shows the entire video inside of said video? Take a shot every time I say the word video, by the way. Now, me personally, I find those kinds of reaction videos that show the whole video, or maybe play the whole song, or show the entirety of what they're reacting to, a little bit a no-no when it comes to fair use because it's not really transformative. But there are a lot of great reaction videos and especially review videos that don't use the entire thing that they're reacting or reviewing to. Instead, take snippets of it, transform it in a way that is very different from the original source material, and I think something like that falls under fair use. I mean, I am also no secret to it. In fact, I think the majority of Anitubers and just YouTubers out there who do things like reviews or reaction videos or anything like that try to think to themselves, okay, I don't want to use the entirety of what I am reviewing or reacting to because it won't go against fair use. Again, that whole thing, even on the YouTube side of things, is very grey. But here's the problem. In Japan, and under Japanese law, fair use is non-existent. Japan does not actually recognize the fair use law as an actual law. So copyright material on the Japanese side of things is taken very, very seriously. If you ever watched a Japanese YouTuber or even a Japanese Anituber, because they do in fact exist, you will very rarely see them actually using original screenshots or, God forbid, music or even clips from the anime or whatever it is that they are reacting to or talking about, because again, copyrighted laws and copyright material in Japan is taken very, very seriously. And I guess this story we're talking about is just proof of concept of just how serious it is in Japan, because these three dudes, all in their early 20s, as it says in this article, not only got arrested for making basically movie reviews like any other good movie review that you see in the English-speaking community on YouTube, but also got a jail sentence of sometimes up to 2 years for one of these dudes, and got a massive fine. I'm talking like tens of thousands of dollars worth of fines. I think the recent story that came out is that they actually settled on a $100,000 fine from one production committee that managed to call them out. And that's just one production committee. I think these guys kind of actually got the lucky end of the stick because only one movie production actually managed or decided to sue these guys and ask for, cost of damages and whatnot. And that cost of damages happened to be $100,000. That's what they settled for. It's pretty much unthinkable outside of Japan, or at least in English-speaking countries like the United States, for example, where YouTube is based, where the fair use law is sticking true and is constantly getting changed about all the time. I mean, not too long ago, at least in terms of the YouTube history, we had that whole thing with H3H3 Productions, how he got sued by that guy he made a reaction video to, or I guess a review video to, and that whole fair use thing really stirred things up on the YouTube side of things, especially on the US side of things. And I think gradually we are, as a collective society, really starting to understand what exactly identifies as fair use and what crosses the line of fair use into just copyright infringement. But in Japan, there is no line in the sand. It is completely flat. You are either breaking copyright laws or you are not using any copyrighted material whatsoever. There is no in-between in Japan. And I think the one thing that I just felt really sorry for is they interviewed one of the dudes who actually was the narrator for this particular channel, and he kind of came in or was invited to run this channel and saying that, hey, are you sure, we're not doing something illegal here? Because, Japanese copyright infringement laws are very, very strict. If I do decide to join in on this and I do make money from it, are you sure that we won't get in any kind of trouble? And the guy, according to the narrator guy, the guy who founded the channel, said, oh yeah, no, it's all right, I've talked to a lawyer and everything is okay. Of course, now we know it wasn't fucking okay. I mean, it is his fault for, taking on that narrator job in the first place and thinking that it was okay without properly looking into it, but it's just really sad because you can clearly hear the fact that he is very, very sorry for what he did. He just didn't know. He didn't research it at all, and he was basically fooled by a guy who he put all of his trust into. And I guess that's one thing I took away from this, is that if you are deciding to do a collab channel of any kind, or working on a channel with multiple people, maybe you should get people who you actually trust or have actually met before and are friends with. Because the narrator guy was saying in the interview that he's never even met the channel owner of Fastoyega. So yeah, that should already give you some red flags. But at the same time, it really just does blow my goddamn mind just how backwards Japan is with a lot of things. I mean, YouTube kind of took a while to take off in Japan for the longest time because people were still using sites like Nico Nico Doga and other video platform sites, and were just even reliant on things like TV, even though the rest of the Western world was already fully starting to integrate into things like YouTube. I'd say it's not until probably about 4 or 5 years ago that the term YouTube and YouTuber were considered a normal thing and were even considered as an occupation here in Japan. So I guess now that they've finally, gotten on the ball of YouTube being a legitimate platform where people can actually make a living and YouTubers are a legitimate occupation that people can live off of, I think the next step is to try to understand this idea of fair use. Because as someone who lives in Japan and as someone who deals with Japanese media, aka anime, as my job, I'm not gonna lie, it is very scary sometimes dealing with Japanese companies and dealing with copyrighted Japanese material, because I don't want shit like this to happen to me. And all I can say is that this Fasto Eiga channel that unfortunately did get caught, I think was just a very unlucky situation, because truth be told, I've seen it so many channels on the Japanese side of YouTube that make the exact same type of content. Whether it be for video games, for anime, for movies, for music, where they actually use copyrighted material, and I guarantee 99.9% of these channels don't actually have the permission to use any of this copyrighted material. And it just really sucks that, Japan is still not really understanding of this whole fair use thing. I mean, at the same time, I don't really blame them, because even on the US and the Western side of things, we still don't really have a firm grasp on what exactly is fair use and what isn't fair use. But I think, with people really starting to rely on YouTube for entertainment, and even big brands and companies, opening up their own, official YouTube channels and stuff like that to promote their new movies and promote their new content and stuff like that, and use it as an advertisement platform. And it's just a place where people have started to realize not many young people watch TV anymore, they just watch YouTube. I think it is an important time for at least the Japanese side of things to maybe start considering the fair use law in some regard. Truth be told, just because they managed to catch one channel is not going to stop Japanese YouTubers from doing the exact same thing and getting away with it. I think these big movie productions and copyright holders for traditional companies have to start understanding that that's just the nature of the internet. And in a lot of cases, a lot of these kinds of production companies and copyright holders sometimes benefit from people using their material for fair use. Some people will debate saying, oh, it's free advertisement, people find out about certain things because it was uploaded onto YouTube and the original copyright holders decided to not put it up on YouTube for whatever reason. There was this great argument I saw on a blog post that was discussing this particular story, that there are some Japanese actors and people in the entertainment industry that are now massive and making millions, basically making their livelihood in countries like China, even though the entirety of YouTube is banned in China, because people were uploading their material onto YouTube, and obviously the Chinese audience going onto YouTube, through VPNs and however the hell they do it. And that basically created a fan base in a country where if fair use didn't exist otherwise, or if people weren't illegally uploading shit onto YouTube otherwise, would never have happened in the first place. So there really is different arguments for both sides of the coin, and both arguments are fully understandable. And I think that's why this whole fair use discussion is such a gray zone, and at least in Japan, it is a really serious matter, to the point where the cyber police are going to get on your ass and you will go to jail for it. Luckily though, at least from my experience of working with a number of Japanese companies here, especially in the whole anime and entertainment side of things, it seems that most, if not all, of these bigger copyright holder companies are slowly starting to understand this concept of fair use on YouTube. And that, maybe they should start to see that not everyone is out there taking copyrighted stuff for necessarily malicious intent, or for the intent of stealing the entire copyrighted material altogether. A lot of content like that exists on YouTube, and I think it's really important because YouTube now is the platform where a lot of entertainment, stuff that kind of falls under the radar, especially from places like TV and radio and other traditional media. They come there onto YouTube so that people who are interested in it can discover it. I think everyone who is watching this video can agree that they probably wouldn't have discovered half the shit they know today if it wasn't for the fact that a random video about it popped up in their recommended, or a friend recommended you guys to watch a particular video on YouTube about it, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, cyber police exists in Japan, and so if you're going to start up a Japanese YouTube channel, just be wary of that. Let's just say this is one of many reasons why I myself have not opened up a Japanese YouTube channel. But let me know your thoughts about it, guys, down in the comments below. I've also left the link to this article down in the description, as well as a couple of videos explaining the situation. Mind you, everything is in Japanese, as you can see, so if you don't get it, then hopefully you were listening this video because I broke it down for you. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. Let's keep making big channel number go bigger. And over here next to my head is a couple more videos you can check out if you enjoyed this one. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions about anything I said in this video. And hey, make sure to follow your boy over on social media, which I will, as always, leave down in the description box below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.